Hello. So far in this video lessons, I have discussed very much situation in Europe, especially here in Finland, also contrasted to the trade relations between the USA and China. So my purpose with the last theme is to then broaden the discussion to the rest of the world. So let me start with this brief description that I took from the Krugman et al. Textbook discussing the poverty problem in developing countries. So, in my view, this description gives rather black and white view that we have this kind of advanced nations with advanced technology, and then there, on the other hand, there are these developing countries which are poor in essential factors of production, and the poor this scarcity of labor and highly skilled labor and capital then is a symptom of deeper problems such as political instability, insecure property rights, and misguided economic policies. So, of course, we understand that these institutions are very important, but perhaps this picture nowadays is not so black and white, that we have this advanced and developing countries. So I took a couple of maps from the Wikipedia article to sort of try to get also a little bit more up to date and nuanced picture. So first of all, here we have a map indicating the levels of GDP per capita in 2024. And notice that this comparison is based on this PPP, so purchasing power parity exchange rates. The most richest countries are indicated with the blue color. So blue color refers to the GDP per capita of $60,000 or higher in year 2024. So that includes the USA, Canada, most countries in Northern and Western Europe. There is Australia, and then there is this oil-producing countries such as Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. And among this, the poorest countries are indicated with red color or sort of red-orange color. So with the red color and dark red, we have countries with the GDP per capita less than $2,500 per year. So these include many countries in Africa, and then there is a couple of Asian countries such as Yemen and Afghanistan. So this is kind of extremes that in the poor countries it can be even less than $1,000 GDP per capita. In the wealthiest, it's more than $60,000 per capita. But then there is a whole spectrum of other countries, like if you think of these green countries, somewhere between 20 to $50,000 dollars of GDP per capita could be mentioned as some kind of middle income countries. So there exists something like Russia or Kazakhstan, Turkey. With a little bit lighter green, there's Brazil and China. So therefore, if you think of the more recent classifications of, for example, what the IMF and United Nations are using, so it can be helpful to divide countries in three groups. So there is developed countries are again with the blue color. So this is mostly very large overlap with the blue color on the previous map, except for these oil-producing countries such as Saudi Arabia and Qatar, United Arab Emirates are still counted here as developing countries. So then we have this large group of orange color developing countries, but the biggest problems nowadays in terms of poverty, poor institutions, and growth are in these most red countries, which not surprisingly include also many states in Africa, And I mentioned Yemen and Afghanistan before, but here's also Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and countries like that. So mainly large number of countries in Africa and some countries in Asia. But for example, then Latin America and largest parts of Asia are in this kind of orange group of developing countries, which have grown quite considerably over the past few decades and do not have this kind of extreme poverty as many countries such as China used to have in previous decades. So the GDP per capita is one thing, but it's not the everything. And if you look at the Human Development Index of the United Nations, it kind of confirms the similar kind of picture, but then there's also more areas appearing with the green color indicating very high human development. So there is also now included, for example, Turkey, Russia, Kazakhstan, but also in South America, Argentina, Uruguay, Chile. So that this kind of contrast between this kind of very low human development in many African countries, that tends to be very highly correlated with the income and GDP per capita, but there's also some other aspects, and perhaps these maps help to indicate that this human development tends to be very highly correlated with the income, but there's also other issues, and for some countries, let's say Saudi Arabia, it's somewhat tricky how to classify, because, for example, GDP per capita is very high due to oil revenues. But then in other aspects of human development, there's also then major concerns. So we will discuss then in the next lesson this more from the dynamic perspective, that is the growth over time, and what about convergence, that are the developing countries catching up the most advanced nations, or are these kind of gaps increasing over time? See you then.